Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back, Inner Conquest. This is Jacob Edens, your host, and today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite topics, which is how to reduce your biological age. So, when you think about aging, right, there are a lot of concepts that get plugged into our mind when we're young, right? There's a framework for aging, and that's essentially, if you do good, you're going to get to 80, and if you're really strong, you could do 101, but then you're kind of destroyed, right? So you're pre-programmed with a mental framework for expectation of degradation at certain milestones within your life. And if you understand metaphysics, you understand that what you expect, you essentially detect, which means that your awareness is on that effect, right? So you're essentially presuming and assuming perfectly that your life is going to be this way. You're activating law of assumption in a way that is perfect. You're assuming that, if I just work hard until I get to 60, then I'll be this, right? That framework sucks, okay? Because there's nothing but negative things that come out of that, right? I'm going to get to this age, I'm going to break down, right? Oh no, I just turned 30. Oh no, I just turned 40. Right? So what you want to understand about your age is that your soul doesn't age because it's eternal, okay? So just put that into practice for a second, okay? So your soul doesn't age because it's eternal, meaning that if you go into a different dimensional space, right? So understand dimensional spacing. There's your personalized dimensional space, which includes your thoughts, your emotions, and is accessible in a more realized way in, say, a lucid dream, right? So if you go in a lucid dream, you're in your own internal dimensional space. You can break out of that through an out-of-body experience and actually go to physical other realities where your soul's physical. That's why it's important to understand that fear of death is the root of all fear, because if you understand that you're in your body and that your body molds to the shape of your soul, then you have much more dictation over how your body expresses itself. In terms of you define the parameters through which your soul looks, feels, and operates, and your body is a mold to that, right? But if you have an expectation of when you hit 50, everything goes downhill, and everyone you've ever talked to your entire life, when they hit 50, their knees go bad, and that's dominant in your conscious, and you're fearing that outcome, your field begins to construct that reality on a vibrational level, which suction cups your awareness and your reticular activating system to actually seek out validation of that thought process in your external environment. So you want to be very conscious of how you think about aging, because it quite literally will kill you. The number one thing that makes someone age is chronic stress accumulation, okay? So when you think about your electromagnetic field, because the way that your soul is glued into your body is through a toroidal field in your heart, meaning that you're sucked into it. So when people have near deaths or they do out of body, they go, or even just when you sleep, you lower that toroidal field, or you get hit and you, like the Hulk gets hit by that witch lady in the Avengers, if you know what I'm talking about, on that rooftop, when he's after the Infinity Stone. Has to be Infinity War, right? Because he's after the Infinity Stone. Has to be that one. And he's like outside of his body in an astral form, but he's still physical. And he's looking at his body. He's like, what the frick? I thought I was my body, but no, I'm in my body, okay? So you're dealing with two dimensions of reality. The first dimension is that your soul doesn't age, and your soul can look, feel, think, and be whatever you want it to be, okay? That's total freedom. People call the body the prison of the soul because it is a keyed down version of the ultimate reality, where when you think something, you can, like in a dream state, right? I think I have an apple, boom, I have an apple, right? Here it's like, I think I have an apple, visualize me having an apple, and then you walk in the kitchen, you're like, there's an apple, right? There's a linear progression to things that is a keyed down, slower iteration of reality. So when you think of your body encompasses this super high-powered soul, so your body's super legit. But what happens is as you go through time, you have traumatic event here, boom here. Somebody says something mean, you don't process it here. And before you know it, you've got all of these unwanted states stuck to you, right? And that's why you see old people and they're like, ah! You're crushed, essentially, right? You see them in the, I don't mean to be rude if you're old, but you know what I'm talking about, because I've had to deal with a lot of these issues, okay? when you are de-aging yourself, number one, you have to understand that your soul is the authority in your life, not a doctor or anything else. You command your space through your beingness. That is the only thing that reality respects, is who you are, right? That's what's reflected on the screen of space. That's why law of assumption is so powerful, because you assume something, you deny empowerment and second causes and see them as effects, and then reality reads your energy signature and reconfigures to your energy signature. So it makes you a creator, right? So as you goose up your understanding of metaphysical nature, how your soul is in your body like a vehicle, core truths like you can't have unlimited expression of freedom with a limitation, unconditional love cannot have a condition, your soul never dies, all these core truths of reality, right? You start to wake up a little bit and you go, oh, I don't need to have this framework of how I age. So in my perspective, the best framework of having aging under the thumb of your control, is to define your ideal biological age and then exclusively identify with that. Because faculties of your mind are predicated on who you are being from an identity standpoint. You have 12 aspects of your mind that, once disciplined, execute on your behalf. The chiefmost one is your ability to deny external, already physicalized reality as the end product, okay? That's Simon Peter. That's the rock foundation of your mind. If your imaginative act, right, is to be young and healthy, to have a really healthy body, and you see yourself as that all the time, and then you get a doctor comes up to you and says, no, you're actually going to die, you suck. You can either accept that external thing as a reality, which means you validate it with your consciousness as a judgment of this is true, meaning that you judge it and you freeze frame that instance in an ever-changing reality that's always changing depending on who you are. So if you judge something external to you as an end product, you're essentially saying this is true and final. When in actuality, the only thing that is permanent is your identity, because you don't die. Your soul doesn't die. Your body dies for sure, but you go on. So you are permanent. When you understand that you are permanent, then you can begin to identify as whatever you want, and the reality has to conform to you, because the reality is always changing, right? There's always movement external. But if I go, nope, I'm this, nope, I'm this, nope, I'm this, nope, I'm this, and it may take 1,000 times if I've thought in opposition to myself for 30 to 60 years, right? But as long as you don't stagger through law of assumption, through law of attraction, through law of reversibility, through holding feeling states, holding mental images, identification, right? Whatever you choose to be, that mountain will move. So when you think about your age, you want to understand, number one, what your ideal biological age is, right? So 18 is a good one. Or if you've never been healthy, just say that you're healthier than a prime peak 18-year-old, right? That's not what your linear age is, obviously. But that's how you think of your age. Nope, I'm biologically aged this. Nope, I'm always this. Nope, I'm always perfect. Nope, I'm always young. Nope, I'm always healthy. And you deny anything that clashes with that identity, in the same way that if somebody came up to you and your name's Kevin, they said, hey, Jane, you go, nope, my name's Kevin. It's not Jane. Can't tell me different. And as your subconscious begins to latch on to this identity, it will begin to show you evidence of why you are that. Now, that's step one. Step two is understanding the magnetic nature of yourself. So when you build a new internal identification structure, this is what messes everybody up. It does not reflect immediately. There is what you would call a bridge of incidents because of the keyed down nature of this reality, meaning that there's a progression and a catch-up period for your external to meet your new internal. But your job isn't to worry about the external. Your job is to heavily reign as if you're a king or queen over that internal domain. No, that's not a thought I identify with. No, that's not an emotion I identify with. This is who I am. This is who I am. No, I'm this. No, I'm this. chronic, beast mode, never failing, never wavering, okay? As you stay in that center of power, you will start to feel all of the stuff that isn't that fall off you. Now, that is where you must remain the most faithful, because the thing that ages people the most is stress. So when you have stress coming off of you, it feels horrible sometimes. But you have to understand that the way that you get rid of stress is that you have essentially the same type of thing as if a raccoon is stuck in a trap. The reason the raccoon is stuck in the trap is because it has its hand on some food, and the hole isn't big enough for the food and the hand to get out. So the raccoon, in order to be free, has to let go of the food and pull his hand out. But the raccoon's too greedy, so he stays there. He won't let go of the food, and then the hunter catches him. Death gets you. When you have stress, or you have a trauma, or you have something in your energy field that's all banged up, right? And you're putting in affirmations of, I'm unconditional love. I am perfect. I am ageless. I'm my perfect biological age. Like powerful shit, right? Like really what you want. That old identity that's stuck to you, that stress, that chronic, will be purged out of you, okay? How you get rid of that is you let it go. You release it, but you don't lose your focus and your control of your mind. You say, no, I'm this. This is how it is. No, I don't identify with this. This is gone. And as you feel years and decades of chronic stress lift off of your body like a ripping off of a Band-Aid, you will feel that underlying tissue, nervous system, and brainstem, everything be in alignment with that biological age which you are identifying with. But you have to release the old shit in the same way that a snake regenerates itself. It releases its skin, right? You renew your internal identity, and that physical reality may take a little while, right? Because you may have really thick ingrainment in some of these stress patterns. Like you may be chronically fixed and identified with, I've always had this. And, you may just be identified with that from an emotional climate standpoint. I've felt this way for 40 years, and you're letting that go. It feels like you're dying. It feels like you're letting yourself die. But it's really just that poison of stress that's degrading your body being released from you. So as you release that, you maintain that internal conviction. You don't allow the external to dictate you. You are master of the internal. Doesn't matter what's happening outside. Internal all day, baby. So as you continue to do that, you will release all of those old patterns, and your inside vibration will begin to reflect outwards, and it will be the best fucking thing you've ever done in your entire life, because you've been walking around with this chronic stress forever, right? So when you are dealing with regenerating the body, you have to think about a couple dynamics. Number one, highest frequency wins. Unconditional love, authenticity, and integrity are your three highest frequencies. If you do a water experiment, you have water in one jar, water in the other. You say, I love you to one, I hate you to the other one. The one that you say I love you to will have also you have rice in the water jar. That's an important thing too. The rice in the water jar will not decay. It will not ferment. The one in the other side will begin to get bacteria. As you say, I hate you to it. It will start to get gross, right? So the power of your thought and the power of your spoken word verbally casts spells. That's why it's called spelling. You're casting spells. Shadow money wizard gang for all my SoundCloud junkies out there. You're casting spells. Boom, boom, boom. Watering the plant. Boom, boom, boom. So as you are thinking, I'm healthy. I'm in unconditional love. I'm in authenticity. I'm in integrity. I'm better than I was when I was 18. You're saturating the water cellular structure of your body with this type of thought and speech. All that shit that is similar to if you had the rice jar with the I hate you stuff is now a vibratory mismatch to that and is going to get pushed out of you, okay? So when you feel worse, when you're doing this stuff, be okay with it. Don't stop. because the victory and glory of you achieving this is much greater than the current troubles of today. It's not worth comparing because you can't even fathom how much better you're going to feel once you have an energy field that's in alignment with unconditional love, authenticity, and integrity. You're pushing out the poison of stress, because stress is like a poison. It's like if you drink a bunch of alcohol all the time, right? Not saying alcohol is bad, but if you drank alcohol every day for 30 days, how do you feel? You feel hungover and like poisoned, right? Stress is a poison. It's like fucked up. So you push the poison out, right? And as you push it out, you renew yourself. You identify with the biological age, which puts your subconscious onto a target of how to cellularly restructure itself. And as you persist and become identified with that target, your body renews, your aging decreases, your vitality returns, and you become more and more close to whatever the ideal format of your soul is, right? And that's why you dictate how you look, how you feel, how you think, everything. Because your soul can immediately morph to that, right? You go in a lucid dream, I'm 300 pounds. I'm ripped. See? So your soul can do that like that. Your physical body is in a keyed down version. So that's why persistence and faith are so harped upon in esoteric books, because of that loyalty to what you would call an unseen reality that's not validated externally, right? That's why when you think of Christ as your wonderful human imagination, the world hated me first, meaning that when you're new, you're incompatible with your old reality, meaning that it does not like you, meaning that it's a vibratory mismatch. So you're a fish out of water. Oh, I'm a millionaire, and you're like in the slums. Oh, I'm a millionaire. Oh my God. It's like, it's that internal strength that you develop, but there's nothing that you can't overcome once you understand this, right? You just have to ride out that releasing process. And it's really doesn't have to be painful. It's much more of a letting that stress go from yourself and allowing your new version to be dominant and basically come out of you and be a much healthier, happier, much more integrated version of yourself than you're probably used to being. So I know you guys enjoyed the video. If you'd like to work with me one-on-one, we have multiple protocols. Number one is the modern metaphysics protocol. That's all of your basic metaphysical understanding rolled up into 6 coaching calls with me. You also have the Spartan 1 human optimization protocol, which is the big boy, okay? It's a 12-weeker, means that we go through every aspect of your human experience and we optimize the living daylights out of it. You can do what I would recommend is doing the modern metaphysics first, or if you're in a precarious situation and you really are like, man, I need to fix a lot of stuff, S1's a good place to start for that as well. But feel free to shoot me an email, tell me your situation, and we can figure out what works best for you. Additionally, there are normal coaching stuff like emails and hour-long calls. If you just want to do something light, you're more than welcome to do that. So appreciate you guys. I love you guys. And the most important thing I have to say today is go conquer, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.